I work closely with our Indigenous players, and I was in Las Vegas and able to support Ezra at the time when he was going through it, and also there to speak with some of our leading players and some of the big strong voices we have in that Indigenous space in the game. In the South Sydney players, Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell. So I wanted to be there to make sure that I saw all the processes that they followed and to be able to give any information back to the players and also just to be there, I suppose, to support the whole thing against racism that the NRL continues to strive for.
And the 8-week suspension, do you think that was adequate?
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about it. I think some people wouldn't have been happy if it was a year, and some people wouldn't have been happy if it was only 2 or 4 weeks. You know, it was one of those things. I thought the NRL, when you consider that Spencer Leniu, I don't think he's a racist person. I don't think that he's got a lot of remorse about what he did, and he's also went in with a guilty plea. So there's always some leniency in the suspension for that, and I thought the NRL will come up with a pretty fair thing in 8 weeks.
You were the victim of a racial slur back in your playing days in the early 2000s. How much has changed since then?
Yeah, I think, look, sadly for me, this is an incident of not a racist person saying something on a rugby league field. This is systemic racism that exists in our country. Our country still has a long way to go as far as understanding racism and dealing with it properly. You know, we saw last week a lot of people spent so much time having a discussion to see, is this actually racist? Is it hurtful? What should the suspension be? We spent more time discussing whether something is racist than we do eradicating racism in this country. So for me, there's still a lack of understanding. You know, you only had to, sadly in sports, we didn't learn from what Adam Goodes went through. And we must have been walking around blind and with our eyes closed to not know the effect of these sort of words on sports people, on Aboriginal people. So that was an opportunity we missed. Hopefully this is one opportunity that we look at, and as a country in sports, that we look to get better. And to get better is to have these discussions, to learn more and to have better understanding.
Football Australia is currently investigating a female player that was racially abused by a spectator in the crowd in the Women's A-League. Are you concerned that we'll continue to see further incidences of racial abuse?
I have no doubt we'll see another one in the next 12 months in sport because unfortunately, as I said, there's systemic racism in this country. We still don't have an understanding of it. We're not educated enough around accepting difference, and it's sadly this will rear its head again soon, and we've got to learn from these things. And I think it's more around the discussions we have, the casual language we use when we're talking about different people. There's so much more to go.
And you work with the NRL as an education manager now. Can you tell us about that work and how you help Indigenous players in the game and help create awareness about issues like racism that we still see?
Yeah, I work at the NRL. I host Over the Black Dot on NITV, and we're discussing this too regularly. We continue to go out and educate players. We talk a lot about accepting cultural difference. Diversity is important in rugby league. You know, it's a sport that is for everyone, and we pride ourselves on being for everyone. So we work hard. You know, we deliver so many educational sessions in many different forms and at many different platforms to teach our players. But unfortunately, our players are part of society, so they use the language that society uses. They have the lack of understanding that society sometimes has, and they do get it wrong at times, and we've got to pay the price.
And you were there, Dean, for the Las Vegas launch and the fallout, and to see how this really affected Ezra. How is he holding up now? Yeah,
I think he's ready to move on and do what he does best, is play football. But it did sting him at the time. He was very upset at the time, and people still don't understand how those words can affect you. It hits you like a lightning bolt when it happens to you on the field, and I really felt for him as he went through it, but I think he's made his stance. He's ready to move on, and hopefully what the next part is about everyone trying to be better. That's the most important part.